Hey, it's Rachel Cooke, your modern mentor. And if you, like many, are feeling stuck in a moment of all work and no play, then today's episode is for you. We're going to talk about ways you can infuse fun back into the business of doing work. Remember the water cooler and how it felt to just bump into someone and chat about Netflix or your kid's baseball game with no agenda? And remember when everyone wore pants? In the wise words of Joni Mitchell, sometimes you don't know what you've got till it's gone. Working physically in an office came at a price, for sure. It wasn't all fun and games. But for many of us, that fun and games part is feeling absent. We're working longer days and weekends, we're feeling the burn, and we're missing a sense of fun. The pandemic may have changed the rules on what fun can look like right now, but there is still fun to be had. With or without a budget, there are ways you can start to bring it back into your workplace. I recently ran a series of listening sessions for a client, trying to understand what their employees want as far as fun in 21. And I learned some pretty great stuff I'm going to pass along today. First, fun begins with everyone being okay. When the pandemic began, a lot of companies started trying to mandate fun by instituting weekly Zoom happy hours, awkward virtual team building events, and more. But the truth is, it's hard to lean into the pleasure of a happy hour when your brain is swimming in anxiety and overwhelm. It's like putting lipstick on a pig, with all due respect to the pig. These listening sessions taught me that teams are tired of feeling forced to laugh when they still feel like crying. True fun begins with a foundation of everyone just being okay, having what they need as far as tools, resources, support, access to key benefits, etc. Whether or not you're in a position of leadership, if you're looking to reinfuse a sense of fun back into your team, start by just checking in with people one-on-one, and maybe experiment with questions that invoke something deeper than, "Hey, how are you?" Here are some I've been asked that I've really appreciated. "Hey, are you looking for some thought partnership on anything right now? I've been working on X and you've been working on Y. And I was wondering if we might compare notes, see if these projects might be complementary. Is there anything that's been slowing you down at work that I might help troubleshoot or problem solve? How well are your daily activities supporting your key priorities right now? Is there anything you're considering setting to the side?" The point is to ask open questions that invite someone to really think about whether or not they have what they need, while also extending an invitation to ask for your input, help, or support. This helps build a baseline of safety, without which you just can't have fun. Next, fun can just be levity. Another big aha emerging from these listening sessions is that infusing fun into the work can be more impactful than a standalone hour of forced fun. These teams were asking not for event-based fun, but for just more levity, lightness, and humor during meetings, conversations, and check-ins. So if you're sitting on a team that is all business until the mandatory fun hour begins, here are some things you might experiment with. Celebrate National Whatever Day. It is literally always a day, be it National Hot Dog, Unicycle, or Great Uncle Day. Sometimes just the ridiculousness of, seriously, that needs a day, can get people smiling. Invite people to choose a Zoom background or just bring a prop into a meeting to recognize the thing being celebrated. Start each meeting with someone sharing a quick anecdote from their childhood. Make it voluntary, of course, but intentional. Invite someone to share a short story that offers a glimpse into who they were and maybe even has a connection to the conversation at hand. Laugh at a harmless mistake. Instead of panicking or immediately problem solving, let humanity in for just a moment. Share a book recommendation. Fiction is just fine here, or even a new favorite restaurant or recipe. Just remind people that non-work lives deserve a place at the table. Model the behavior you'd like to see, and then call it out so your colleagues understand what you're doing and why. They may even start to follow your lead. Next, fun can have purpose. Fun doesn't have to be defined by a hat or a beverage. Fun is fun if it leaves you feeling good. And while we may not all find the same things funny or joyful, there is something universal about infusing some goodness into the world. Whether in person or virtual, try organizing a purposeful activity your team can do together. If your company allocates a budget for this, and many do, so go ask your leader or someone in human resources or corporate social responsibility. There are charities out there that will provide you with supplies and will even facilitate an activity with your team as you package kits for refugees or hurricane victims or students in underprivileged areas. If no budget is available, then bring everyone together and write letters to veterans or children in local hospitals, or plan a fundraising event and choose a cause that resonates with everyone. The takeaway here is that fun doesn't have to be frivolous. Don't be afraid to get real and bring meaning to the table. Next, fun leverages individual strengths. Sharing our hobbies, interests, and secret talents is an incredible and accessible way to bring fun back to work. Set aside a time, maybe an hour a week or a month. Make it during the workday to avoid adding to burnout. When one team member leads the rest in an activity or discussion that matches their own interest or expertise. One person may choose to teach a virtual cooking class. Another may lead the group in a karaoke session. Sorry, not sorry for that one. You may learn some phrases in a foreign language or the basics of coding. You might delight in a brief history lesson of someone's culture, or indulge in some not-so-bad amateur stand-up comedy. Sometimes the most fun we can have is sharing in a colleague's passion, knowledge, and expertise, and their willingness to share it with the rest of the team. And finally, fun can be singular. The comment that hit me hardest during my listening sessions was this: one person's fun is sometimes another person's trigger. A recovering alcoholic does not take pleasure in Zoom happy hours. A person riddled with anxiety may not love an escape room. Sometimes the best way to infuse fun into the workplace is to grant people permission to choose their own adventures. So start by setting the example. Instead of pulling your team together for a one-size-fits-all event, scour your workplace for opportunities that catch your interest. There may be a speaker series happening, or an employee resource group you might join, or a lunch and learn being hosted by another team, or a company book club you can join. Go find your fun, and without any pressure, just let your team know what you did and why you enjoyed it. Maybe a colleague will follow your lead. Whether something I've covered has struck your fancy or you're imagining something entirely different, do make the time and space to bring fun back into the workplace. And if you have an idea that I missed, please pop onto the Modern Mentor podcast page on LinkedIn and let me know. There is nothing more fun for me than learning from you. Follow Modern Mentor on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow me on the Modern Mentor podcast page on LinkedIn. And hit me with your questions at modernmentor@quickanddirtytips.com or leave me a voicemail at 201-632-5656. Make sure you let me know if it's okay to use your voice on the show. Thanks so much for listening and have a successful week.